Here we go, another reading of Longman Dictionary. So, reasons, in case you made a mistake of coming here to watch this video, it somehow got served to you. The reason for this video is that I'm reading a dictionary every day for 5 minutes, unless I try not to break the chain. It's a Seinfeld method of productivity. Plus, it is a type of external motivation which keeps me from uploading video every day, because usually if I wouldn't do it, if I wouldn't upload the video on the internet, I wouldn't even record it. So this gives me a sense of accountability, even though nearly nobody watches it, and by nearly I mean nobody. But in case, it's just for my the history and the record that it's up there, but it is available for anybody to watch it, and that's why I'm uploading it every day. So next 5-minute thing starts at auction, and let's start the timer. Here we go, 5 minutes, and auction.
Auction.
Auction. A word origin, I don't know where it comes from. Okay, so Latin, auctio, increase, from auger, augment. Okay, so it's also to augment, to increase, because the money offered increases. Auction. Auction. Auctio. I like that. A public meeting where land, buildings, paintings, etc. are sold to the person who offers the most money for them. At auction. The house was sold at auction. Put something up for auction. Try to sell something at an auction. This week, 14 of his paintings were put up for auction. Auction house, a company that arranges auctions. Alright. I bought several computers at the auction house. And then later on I sold them at electronic auction on the internet. Auction. Auction off. To sell something at an auction. Verbal form.
Auction.
Whoa. I think I'll skip this one. Okay, auctioneer. Auctioneer.
Auctioneer.
Auctioneer. Auctioneer.
Auctioneer.
Auctioneer. Auctioneer. Someone who is in charge of selling the things at an auction and who calls out how much money has already been offered for something. Auctioneer. Oh, so cool. I love this dictionary. Audacious. Audacious.
Audacious.
Audacious. Showing great courage. Okay, origin. Which is from audace. Audacity, from Latin audax. Brave. Audax. 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 From audare. To dare. Oh dear. To dare. Audacious. To dare. I like it. Brave. To the audacity. The quality of having enough courage to take risks or say impolite things. Have the audacity to do something. I can't believe he had the audacity to ask me for the money. Sometimes people have audacity to do things that are culturally or socially unacceptable, and they create quite a lot of havoc among people. Trump has audacity to do a lot of things that would be unthinkable for other presidents to do. Okay, Audi.
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 Audi. Okay, a type of Audi. 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 A type of German car made by some company that produces Volkswagen. The same company that produces Volkswagen cars. Oh, really? You know that. Audible.
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 Audible. From audio, audible. So a sound that is audible is loud enough for you to hear it. Inaudible, or opposite inaudible. Inaudible, audible, inaudible. His voice was barely audible. Could only just be heard. Barely audible. Above the roar of the crowd. Above the roar. His voice was barely audible above the roar of the crowd. Audibly. Audibility. Thesaurus. Here. Okay, how many minutes do we have? Oh, not much. About 30 seconds, but I'll finish this one here. Thesaurus. Thesaurus. Here. To know what a sound is being made. The sound is being made using your ears. There's no need to shout. I can hear you. Voices could be heard in the distance. Listen, to pay attention to something using your ears. I was listening to the news on the car radio. He never listens to anything I say. Make out, to hear something with difficulty. When I got closer, I could make out a human voice. I could just make out what he was saying. Over here, to accidentally hear another person's conversation. I overheard her say to her friend that she had lost something. Catch, to hear something that someone says. Sorry, I didn't catch your name. I caught the last few minutes of the program. Tune in, to listen to a program. Often used in announcements on the radio. Tune in for all the latest news and views from around the world. Thousands of people tune into the show every week. Audible, adjective loud enough to be heard. Her words were clearly audible. An audible whisper. I love that. Love how finishing of the sentences, how the voice goes down. It's so cool. I think I'll do another one, another word to go a bit further. Audience. It comes from also
Audience.
Hearing from oh dear. So audacity comes from brave, but audible comes from audio, but also audience comes from audio. That is pretty cool.
Audience.
Audience. Audience.
Audience.
Audience. Cool. British English. A group of people who came to watch and listen to someone speaking or performing in public. The audience began clapping and cheering. An audience of 250 business people. One member of the audience described the opera. Opera is boring. British English. The people who watch or listen to a particular program or who see or hear a particular artist's, writer's, etc. work. The show attracts a regular audience of about 20 million. Target audience. The type of people that a program, advertisement, etc. is supposed to attract. Target audience. Goya was one of the first painters to look for a wider audience for his work.
Goya was one of the first painters to look for a wider audience for his work.
The book is not intended for a purely academic audience. The book is not intended for a purely academic audience. Countable. A formal meeting for a very important person. He was granted an audience with the Pope. Okay, collocations. Oh, nice. Let's do some collocations. Perform play to an audience. The band played to huge audiences in Mexico City and Buenos Aires. An audience laughs. He has the ability to make the audience laugh. An audience claps. Most of the audience clapped, but a few people cheered. An audience cheers. An audience cheered loudly when he came on the stage. The audience boos. She swore at the audience, and they began to boo at her. Capacity-packed audience. The largest number of people who can fit into a hall, theatre, etc. The lecture attracted a capacity audience. An enthusiastic audience. They drew enthusiastic audiences at Europe's biggest rock festivals. Stadium audiences. Celine Dion's tour continues to play to sold-out stadium audiences across Europe. Collocations have an audience. The program has a massive audience, ranging from children to grandparents. Attract an audience. The first show attracted a television audience of more than 2 million. Reach an audience. For an advertiser who wants to reach a large audience, television news easily surpasses other news media. Appeal to an audience. Be interesting to them. They brought new fashions into their designs to appeal to a wider audience. A large, huge, etc. audience. Messages posted on the internet can attract huge audience. A wide audience. An author who commands a wide audience. A worldwide audience. Game has an ever-increasing worldwide audience. A magazine with a young audience. The program mainly appeals to an older audience, a very large number of people. Radio brought entertainment to a mass audience. A television audience. All the people who watch or listen to a particular program. Nearly half the UK television audience watched the program last Tuesday. Target audience. The type of people the program aims to attract. The target audience is mostly men aged 28 to 35. And now we got a thesaurus. Interview. A meeting in which someone is asked questions to find out if they're suitable for a job or to help the police find out about a crime. Also used about someone being asked questions on TV, in a newspaper, in a magazine, etc. I've got another job interview tomorrow. Since the police interview, she had changed her statement. An interview with Keith Richards. Interrogation. An occasion where someone is asked a lot of questions for a long time in order to get information, sometimes using threats, usually by the police or the army. Claims he was tortured during his interrogation. Police interrogation methods have been questioned. Cross-examination. An occasion when someone is asked questions about what they have just said in order to see if they are telling the truth, especially in a court of law. Under cross-examination, the only witness said she could not be sure about what she saw. Consultation. A meeting with a doctor or an expert to discuss a treatment or to get advice. The therapist charges $100 for a half-hour consultation. Would you like to come back for another consultation? Audience. A formal meeting with a very important person who was granted an audience with the Pope. Alright, so here we would finish. Next one will be audio. We went from Audacity. What was it? Interview to audience. Was auction, audience. Okay, so we went from auction to audience. Alright, auction to audience. Alright, so let's finish recording. Stop.